Hey everyone, Carrie Lee here with Pura Vida Vitality and Nutrition, and today's video is going to be all about soy and why you may want to reconsider having soy products in your diet. So a lot of people truly believe that soy is very healing and that it's a great source of protein, especially for those that are vegetarians. But these are some of the health implications with soy and basically implications with the body that they could cause as well. So first of all, soy is high in what's known as anti-nutrients, which means that it somehow interferes with nutrient absorption in the body. And there's a few reasons why this occurs. First of all, soy is high in phytic acid, which is basically what is responsible for the gas and bloating or any signs and symptoms that you may have after intaking nuts, seeds, beans, or legumes. Now, typically what we can do, if you have a raw nut seed or whatever it is, you can soak it or sprout it. So you could soak it in water overnight or sprout it before eating it. This gets rid of the phytic acid and also increases your body's ability to be able to pull the nutrition, so pull the minerals, vitamins, essential fatty acids, and other good things out of this seed or nut. But unfortunately, in the case of soy, this can't happen. We can't remove the phytic acid. So now basically what phytic acid does and what it's known for is it actually pulls minerals out of the body and pulls minerals out of the meal that you're having as well. So now, basically, it can cause mineral deficiency over a long period of time, is what they're showing. So basically, if you have a lot of soy in your diet over time, it's kind of linked to mineral deficiencies for this reason. So we want to make sure that we don't have that, because us as North Americans have a lot of mineral deficiency, enough as it is. And this can be basically because our soil is depleted, unfortunately. So this can be from monocropping as well as other things as well, that we're kind of changing the chemical composition of the soil that we have. And so therefore we tend to be deficient in a lot of the trace minerals that we need. And so that's number one. And number two is we tend to not be eating a well-rounded plant-based diet. So that's another reason why we tend to be deficient in minerals. So us being deficient already, we really don't need to add soy into the mix to now have even more complications with mineral absorption and mineral abilities in the body. Also, soy is high in enzyme inhibitors, specifically for protein, and this is called protease. So it's the pancreas's job to secrete protease, which breaks down protein in a meal that you have just eaten. And what the soy does is actually interferes with this. So now that protein can't be broken down, digested, absorbed, and utilized by the body. And as we all know, protein is absolutely necessary for a function of life. It's necessary for every single cell in the body to be healthy and vibrant and living properly and living healthfully. So this is, again, another problem with soy, and this is something that we don't need. We need healthy cells in order to maintain full body health and in order to live a healthy life and reduce aging and reduce premature death. Like, protein is just absolutely fundamental for health. And another problem with soy is it interferes with thyroid function. It has something called goitrogens in it. So basically, this is more or less shown with people that already have some sort of thyroid condition. But actually, it's been shown that upwards of 50% or more of the Canadian and American population, and specifically women more than men, are suffering from some sort of underactive thyroid. So hypothyroid would be what's diagnosed, but if you're suffering from any symptoms of underactive thyroid, and even if the blood work hasn't shown it yet, you could still be having sort of an underactive thyroid that's in the very beginning stages of thyroid disease. And so soy can completely interfere with that. So if you're already suffering from some sort of underactive thyroid or even an overactive thyroid, we don't need the soy in our diet in order to interfere with that thyroid function even more. Because, I mean, the thyroid's necessary for the metabolism of your body, but it actually kind of acts like a powerhouse in the sense that it controls the activity of every single cell in your body. And a lot of people just don't realize how important the thyroid's function is. Another problem with soy is that 98 to 99% of it today is GMO or genetically modified. And basically what the scientists and geneticists have done is they've taken a pesticide and they've woven it into the fabric or the DNA of a soybean crop. So now when soy is grown, it's got this pesticide woven into it. And when you eat it, that soybean or that soy product, you're now intaking a large amount of pesticide, which is, completely bizarre and completely unsafe as well. And the other problem with soy is that it's completely oversprayed, and it actually, because it's so like the plant itself, the soybean plant can really kind of pull in anything that kind of falls on it, even if it's a fertilizer or a pesticide or an herbicide. There are just huge amounts of pesticide residues left in this soy product. And so now, I mean, you can't just simply wash it off. It's going to create a lot of issues and a lot of toxicity in the body if you're having a lot of soy in your diet, especially if it's not organically grown, which again, 98 to 99% of it is genetically modified and is going to be heavily sprayed with fertilizers and chemicals and pesticides and things like that as well. So definitely a lot of issues with soy. The other problem is that it's found in absolutely everything. It is everywhere you look. So kind of like corn, I mean, any of the processed foods on the shelf whatsoever, or fast foods, or anything even that comes in a can, it's been processed in any way, shape, or form, is probably going to contain soy or corn. And so this can cause issues because if you have too much of something in your diet, we can actually form an allergy to it. So, like there's a lot of soy allergies out there, just like there's a lot of dairy and gluten allergies out there nowadays. And this is simply because there's way too much of it in our diet. If we had it much less frequently, we probably wouldn't have the same amount of allergies to these things that we do as North Americans. And I mean, this is just an epidemic right now. I mean, you never heard of all these allergies 20 years ago. And again, it's because the amount of it that's seen in our food supply is just absolutely unreal. And then the other problem with soy is that it tends to be rancid because what they're using for the soy product, like a soy lecithin, or they specifically use soybean oil a lot of the time in these processed foods. And the soybean oil that they use is rancid, meaning that it's been oxidized completely. So now it's basically a carcinogen is what it is. And the soybean oil, it's really high in omega-6s, which is inflammatory promoting anyways. We want a diet that's high in omega-3s, which is kind of like, it decreases inflammation. But soybean oil and a lot of the other vegetable oils are really high in omega-6, which we don't need. And then on top of that, they're rancid and they've been oxidized. And the only reason that you can't tell by the smell, color, or taste that it's been rancid or it has been oxidized is because they use a deodorizer. See, it's very tricky. The food supply uses a deodorizer, so now you can't tell the difference if that oil has gone bad or not. And this is definitely by far one of the most detrimental things to our health, as are all vegetable oils, or most vegetable oils on the market. When they've gone rancid, it increases free radical damage in the body. I mean, unbelievable. Free radical damage and inflammatory disease processes. And it has to do with cancer and can cause heart disease. It can cause the inflammatory issues like asthma and arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, MS, Alzheimer's, dementia, all these sorts of things that, as you can tell, there's just a huge epidemic of this. And this certainly plays a role in it as well. The amount of rancid oils that we have in our diet, as well as the high amount of omega-6s that we have, which is just way too much. And then lastly here, the problem with soy is that it has issues and contributes to breast cancer and other estrogen-dominant diseases or estrogen-dominant health problems. And that's because it's got something called isoflavones in it, which actually mimics the hormone estrogen in the body. And I mean, this is something as females that we don't need because we already have this. Like if you drink out of water bottles, the plastics and things like that, or use Tupperware containers, the plastics is something that again causes the same issue with increasing chances of estrogen-dominant diseases. So again, breast cancer, PCOS, or simply just things like if you have irregular cycles or have issues with your monthly cycle. So PMS symptoms and mood swings and bad cramping. This is all estrogen-dominant health concerns, and soy definitely contributes to that. So if we cut soy out of the diet and fix up the diet, we should be able to heal a lot of these different health concerns. So again, I mean, you have to decide for yourself what you want to do. But the problem is that a lot of the information, though it may be out there, people have a hard time deciphering and being able to choose for themselves whether something like soy could be helpful for them and good for their health, or something that you may want to stay away from. So please check out my YouTube channel. It's Carrie Lee RHN if you're interested in more videos. And you can check me out on Facebook as well at Pura Vida Vitality and Nutrition. Have an awesome day.